Alright, welcome back to Deer Valley Homestead with me, Andy. This week we are trying to save our barn. When we first looked around the property, we knew it had a couple of serious issues around the barn, and this was the view of the retaining wall that gave me an idea that it had those issues. So this is the top area. I already showed you down below where the wall was collapsing, and that is this corner back here. And this is going to be one of our immediate problems to sort out. I think the corner of the barn has dropped by about 10 centimeters already. Once we signed the paperwork and got the keys, we got to work pretty quickly. I cleared out this area of brambles, and up at the top end B removed the old smokehouse, chicken area and general storage. After that we rented this mini digger. We did a whole bunch of jobs around the property. We cleaned out the old cow barn, took down some grapes, took out a few tree stumps, and we scraped off this area in front of the house. There was just so much rubbish pushed down into the dirt. It was just the only thing that made sense. And then we got to work on this retaining wall.
Go back to work.
One of the first things that we did was work our way along the wall, removing all the old tree stumps, blackberry roots and grape roots. We probably could have done with a larger excavator at this point, but this was the only one available that would fit through the door into the barn. And it just didn't make sense to rent two different excavators in the same week. I'm sure you can see from this picture that there was no mortar in this wall left whatsoever. It was full of roots, and especially the blackberries had really penetrated through the wall, and at this point the wall really is more of a large pile of bricks than a wall. With the property cleaned up, you can now see a few more of the issues with this barn. This supporting post is held up by these two bits of wood, and actually I put them in when we were doing the viewing on the house. Previous to that, what was there had rotted away and was just floating. Sadly, we did have to give the excavator back, and what we were left with was this. It's basically just a large pile of rock and soil. And over the next couple of weeks I'm going to be attempting to build a retaining wall in here by hand. It may seem a little bit crazy, but I have broken up all of the soil where I need to break it up to be able to put in the trenches and put in these walls. So really it's just about some physical work. Looking at the before and after videos, I can see how much this has moved in just 6 months. It's already 2 or 3 inches further out. It is falling down. This corner is no longer supported by anything. The retaining wall is blown out, and generally it's just rotten, falling. It's ready to go. What I would like to do today is try to get it ready so that tomorrow I can start work on the foundations here. To do that, I've got 4 or 5 things I need to do. Number 1, I need to deal with the water. The drain pipe is not connected to anything. That water's all falling right here, and of course it's going to wash out exactly where we want to put our trench. I don't think my ladder's big enough. The second thing I need to do is get rid of this piece of wood that is falling up here. Don't want that hitting me on the head while I'm working. After that, I need to do 2 support items. The first one is I need to lift up this post A, to get it back in its original position because it's already dropped 3 or 4 inches, and B, that I can work underneath it, put the concrete in, put the block in, and get that new support built. The second one is much the same, except it's the corner, so it'll be a little bit more challenging. And that is down here. As you can see, the wall is gone. It's pretty much just floating. I need to support it as best I can, get everything shored up as best I can, and then tomorrow I'm going to dig a massive hole underneath here, fill it full of concrete, block, rebar. I appreciate it. It might seem strange to try and lift the barn. I'm not really trying to lift the barn. This support here has been doing nothing for many years. Those bits of wood that are in there now, I put in there when we viewed the property the first time. Before that, it was just hanging. Whatever was there had long rotted out, gone, disappeared. So nothing was happening. So my goal here is to lift it maybe ½ an inch, just to put a little bit of pressure on this beam. And it's more to take pressure off the corner when we do the corner than anything else. And this large beam across the middle is not really going to be taking much weight, but just a little bit. It's also going to give me the opportunity to build a good solid foundation under here that this is going to sit on in the future. Let's see how it goes. Get myself in the runaway position. Oh, I don't think the valve is closed on here. It was bumping and it was going back down. Let's try that again. There we go. Just as easy as that. 1, 2. How secure is that going to be? And there we go. That's it. All the weight is now on here. And now these are doing Nothing. I wonder how big that thing is. Not that big. In here, these two, the original beam and a new support beam, are both doing nothing. They're not even touching the ground. All of these boards are no longer attached. Piece at the bottom, no longer attached. The only thing that seems to be doing any support of any kind is this beam here. Seems to be quite well in there. My plan is to put a diagonal in from here up to here to support this as best as we can. Once I've done that, I will take all these extras that aren't doing anything out and I will see how much pressure is left on here. The reason I don't like this beam is A, it's in the way, but B, it's at an angle like this. So of course when you put weight on it, all that wants to do is pull out. Now the top is still very well secured, but it's not a good thing to have. So we're going to see. I'll take as much weight off it as I can, and then we'll see if we can't support it somehow, somewhere. Alright, so that's all the support that I'm going to put on it. I think it's going to be enough. I think the beam's pretty much holding itself up anyway. Battens, everything. We'll see how it goes. I could be completely wrong, and this part of the barn could fall down. In which case, I'll be running somewhere. I don't know if I can run that fast. I'm just going to play it by ear as it goes, and I have cleared a space in case I need to run. I think that's unlikely though. Hello! Hello! Yeah. It's pretty much not on there. So this is the original beam. Used to be a lot longer, and I guess at some point a lot thicker. So this corner of the barn is now floating. Here it is. I put this support in. It's taking some of the weight, and I thought that this beam was actually the one holding it up. But as you can see, this beam is not. So I think it's been floating for a lot longer than I thought. I thought I was making it float. I think it was already floating. So anyway, that is good news. Alright, there we have it. Our corner of the barn is now floating. I have left that one post in just until tomorrow. It doesn't really need to be there. It's not doing anything, but equally, it's not hurting anything by being there. So I'm just going to leave it. and I'm going to start digging out down here, ready to pour the foundation, hopefully the day afterwards. I've got 3 days of sunshine left from tomorrow morning, and I think I can dig out all of this in a day. It's maybe 2 cubics. I think I can get it all out. I think I can get the form set up the following morning, get the concrete in, and then it will have at least 48 hours before it gets rained on. At least that's the idea. Let's see what happens. I hope you enjoyed watching. Next week I will be digging a big hole, filling it full of concrete, rebar and brickwork, and hopefully getting the foundation for this barn complete. Thank you very much for watching. If you haven't already and you've made it this far in the video, please consider subscribing, and I will look forward to catching you all next week.